Welcome back to SwitchCorner. Today we're going to be taking a look at what's coming up on the Nintendo Switch over this next week. I don't cover everything here, just those that are catching my eye and doing my best basically to skip over the shovelware. Now that said, look, if I miss anything I should be checking out, let me know in the comments down below. As always then, I'm going to be letting you know whether they are a day one buy for me or if I'll be waiting on reviews. So look, with that, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family and let's get started. So first up, I've got a warning one for you. MX vs ATV All Out, it joins the Switch on September 1st. This is a game I was psyched for and I played it over on my Xbox. Here's the problem, it was, to put it nicely, a disaster. Not only that though, it was two very different experiences between the S console and the X. The X, it suffered from like frame rate issues as well as a ton of screen tear. The S barely ran this thing, feeling like you were like flicking through some sort of picture book. So my question with this one is, did they fix up the game first of all, but how are they going to get it, like, this thing to run? I will for sure be putting a video out here on this one as soon as I get my hands on it. I do hope it's solid, but I'm also not holding my breath. Even without like the screen tear and the frame rate issues, the game was just bugged with barriers that didn't work. You would fly straight through them, your car would magically like fire into the air, and occasionally I would fall through the ground. It wasn't good, it very much was broken. I hope they patched the hell out of it though and got it up to scratch, but now bringing it to the Switch, this one is going to be interesting to say the least. A strong wait for reviews from me on this one, and you can expect content on this very channel. So same day then, and I'm excited for this one, we got Ari and the Secret of Seasons. While I think the awful artwork could do a disservice, honestly, we have what could be a very interesting game on our hands here. The artwork to me just looks kind of like one of those budget Pixar knockoffs, and it just doesn't kind of scream quality. The gameplay though looks great, and it's got that old school like 3D platformer vibe to it with like a dash of sourness, I think like environmental puzzles and the like. This is even award-winning supposedly, or at least according to the eShop description, not that it tells you what the award was. Here though, expect to be travelling across the great world of Foldy and become the Guardian of Winter. It basically grants you the ability to manipulate seasons. Expect here though a ton of enemies, puzzles, and no doubt I'm going to guess some like light platforming as you set out to save this world from a new mysterious evil. I'm mainly sold though because I love the clean visual style, and that's where I think the cover art does kind of let it down. It's a day one buy for me though, this one, with a side of caution, just because it's kind of a high price point. I think for myself I'm going to go for the physical route just because it's the exact same price. Alright, so if you fancy a less serious take on Skyrim at a budget price point, well that seems to be Mask of Mist's goal. While I'm not sold personally and I will be waiting to check out reviews first, the concept it does sound decent. You'll take on the role of a mercenary out to find a missing archmage as he has vanished and the path he like walked is now swamped with all sorts of monsters. With some basic puzzles to be solved and monsters to slay, it could be a hidden gem from a small studio, so I'm more than willing to check out a few reviews and maybe this one will hopefully surprise us. It's a niche now, a genetics survival game, and it sounds weird, which is pretty much what initially tempted me in, but then I saw the interesting artwork and I was sold on learning more at that point. So this actually seems to be a roguelike with simulation and turn-based strategy elements where you're shaping your own species of like cat, fox, bear or dog. Looking at the image as well, I'm gonna guess you can do a whole lot of like gene splicing too, with a ton of elements though to battle against, like think predators, climate change, sickness. This is for sure an acquired taste. I mean, it's called niche, but it could prove interesting. With 100 genes to work with, breeding systems, procedural like worlds and animals, and 5 biomes to exist within, it screams longevity, which is never a bad thing. Also, I gotta say, this has been released elsewhere to seriously impressive reviews. I'm still gonna wait on reviews myself just because it is so unique, but I wanna see how they blend these different types of gameplay together. Alright, so you want to make pizza? How about good pizza, great pizza? This was an iOS and Android game which has found its way now to the Switch at a really like reasonable and budget price point. That said, it's also on Steam, and the reason I say it's reasonable is because the price over there is actually nearly double and it's received very positive reviews. What sounds simple though looks like it could be like incredibly addictive and challenging. It's a puzzle game basically that's as much about speed as it is about getting all the elements correct. So here you work at a pizza chain, you have like over 100 customers coming in to see you, they place their order and that's where you come in. get to work and craft that next pie as you work down like the chain. I'm a sucker for a simple but addictive gameplay loop, honestly, especially one that involves like high scores or rankings, so this could very well be my next addiction. I do enjoy my pick up and play experiences too, and I think this might be like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I'm going day one, just down to the price point honestly, but probably look out for reviews if you don't like taking risks with your cash, and expect to see this in a review roundup on the channel in the next few weeks. So this one's kind of come out of nowhere for me, but Spinch, presenting itself as a side-scrolling psychedelic platformer I am in. It's a little bit more pricey than I like, but these visuals are stunning. They come from an award-winning Canadian cartoonist by the name of Jesse Jacobs. Honestly, knew nothing about him, but after seeing these stills and this trailer, I actually went ahead and checked out some of his work. My only hope with this one is that it has a soundtrack that matches the style, because as a visual audio experience, I think this could be something special. On top of all this then, the gameplay sounds like it's going to really like add a lot in. You've got dashing, dodging, climbing, swimming, jumping, and then 6 bosses to take down, all while promising some old school difficulty. Basically, we're going to get our asses kicked, and I love that. I'm going day one with this one personally. Alright, so pirate fans, not a genre we see too often, but Under the Jolly Roger, a game about sailing the 7 seas and blowing stuff up. Honestly, I actually don't think it's about that. It's a little bit more deep. This is more of a strategy experience than anything else, no matter how epic the screens might look. From what I know, it's more like menus, trading, and then quest selection than like full-scale battles. That says it looks to have a ton of ocean-based action and some ship-to-ship battles for good measure. Thing with this one, the devs are behind an iOS and Android game called Tempest, and this actually seems to be that very same game. The name change is a good move to pull focus away from that, but from what I know, it's actually the same game that released on iOS, Android, and they put it out as Tempest on Steam and PS4 earlier in the year. I'm interested in this one, but I'm curious to see really how deep it is. To me, it's one of those phone games where you click an action and then you kind of sit back and wait or do something else while that action completes. We'll see though. I'll probably wait on reviews. To be honest, I might even jump into a review myself. So our penultimate game of the week then, Paradise Killer, and this one sounds really interesting. First person open world murder mystery. Here's the idea: Paradise is an island that regenerates every few millennia. Basically, this island will regenerate and dispel demons that eventually inhabit each world over the years until it goes through this process. This regeneration, it's completed by a council though, and here's the problem. That council was murdered. Here, expect to be taking on the role of Lady Lovedays though to find out, well, who did this. Sounds nuts, which is exactly how I like them personally. I think the visuals look solid, except for maybe the text, which looks a little too word art for me, but it's coming from Fellow Traveller Games, a publisher who've just like demonstrated recently they have some seriously good taste. They released Neocab and the incredible In Other Waters. Count me in here for a day one buy. So our last game of the week then, NBA 2K21, and I'm not sure how much introduction this one really needs. An incredibly good looking game on the console and the gameplay is solid, or at least last year's was 2K20. But yeah, it's basketball and it's kind of the early update. My question with this one, honestly, I picked up 2K20 for like $5 about 3 months ago. Is this gonna do enough to like demand I pull my credit card out? I think fans, they're going to buy it immediately either way, but everyone else I'll probably wait on reviews. Also, I gotta say it's a bit weird on the eShop. It's currently saying a 6.7 gig install file. There's no way that can be true because last year's was over 40 gigs, so I'd be wary of that. From what I can tell, even the physical copy right now is saying an additional 30 gig for install, so I wouldn't go like pre-purchasing this just yet if like space is a concern for you. And that is it, another week down. Did I miss anything, and will you be adding any of these to your Switch library? If I did miss any, then let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know what you're most excited for this week. Then a shout out to the patrons who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. They also, I gotta say, last week especially, they've been helping with a ton of input for the channel, so that truly is appreciated. If you want to check that out for yourself, it is linked in the video description down below. With that then, like, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.